Marami na ang nabago sa ating bansa. Katulad na lamang ng damit, mga bagay at pati na rin ang lugar.
Opo, madami na nga po nagbago dahil nga po sa urban forestry.
The term urban forestry is used interchangeably with the urban greening, which is basically the process of planting trees and other ornamental plants such as palm, bamboos, shrubs, vines, ferns, grasses, and other vegetative ground covers. Therefore, urban greening is actually the application or practice of urban forestry. Urban forestry is a specialized branch of forestry that deals with cultivation and management of trees and other plant forms for their present and potential contribution to the physiological, ecological, aesthetic, and economic well-being of urban society. In simpler terms, it is the introduction of trees, shrubs, vines, herbs, grass, and animal life singly, fully or in combination that will blend and enhance the aesthetic value of the environment, safeguard, and the populates from various forms of hazards and the productive purposes.
Tunay nga na maraming ang nagbago sa ating bansa. Ngunit hindi pa rin may kakaila ang ganda nito sa ating mga mata.
Footage na nagpapakilala sa The Master Plan for Forestry Development of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources noong 1992 na nagbigay kahulugan sa urban forestry na restore na.
So, urban forestry is establishment and management of forests in urban environment for the physiological and psychological well-being of the people. It is a deliberate process of cultivating trees to affect the effects of pollution and at the same time provide a static and scenic surrounding in an otherwise drab and dreary landscape. So, urban forestry includes forest park, a nature center, a green belt, a boulevard lined with trees or flowering plants or even coconuts, a street with trees and other plants in the islands or sidewalks, and a school, hospital, and factory yard with trees. So, ang ating urban forestry is a greening movement. It is a greening movement designed to raise the quality of the environment of the people in urban centers.
Isang taon pa lang ako, nasundan na ni Toto. Grade 2, 8 taon pa lang, 4 na bata ang inaalagaan. Grade 6, 12 na ako, kasing dami na ng pamilya ko. Sabi mo, pasensya na, walang pera kaya mag-drop out ka. Ina ko, sabi mo kami mahal nyo, ari ko pati kayo nagplano. Sana hindi gutom at nag-aaral pa, alaga't malusog ang buong pamilya.
Ang planadong buhay ay maayos na buhay.
Hello! Visit the best urban forest here in Metro Manila. Urban forest includes urban parks, thoroughfares, islands, boulevards, and other areas planted with trees and other plants. There are mostly man-made structures man-made urban parks, and three good examples, or some examples of them, are the Danoneta Parks, the Ninoy Aquino Parks, the Wildlife Center, and the Nayong Filipino Park.
Marami nga sa atin ang mahihilig magtala para mabalikan ang mga masasayang alaala sa ating buhay. Ngunit kakaiba ang mga naitala ng isang veteran na mamamahayag. Naitala niya lamang naman ang mahalagang nangyari noong mga nakaraang taon.
Hello po. Ang naaalala ko sa history ng urban forestry sa Pilipinas ay yung 1988 si President Corazon Aquino ay nag-issue ng Memorandum 1908 na nag-establish ng Metro Greening Program. Kilala din siya as Lunetang Kamaynilaan Program. Then next year naman, 1989, gumawa din siya ng hanging garden, na-conceptualize ang hanging garden at nakikita natin sa Freedom Park, Makati. Parang gusto nito ni-create to para magkaroon ng Metro Manila 4 persons per tree for the 8 million Metro Manilas na population ng Metro Manila noon. In 1992, si former President Vidal Ramos nag-launch ng Clean and Green Program sa paggamit ng Memorandum Circular No. 5. The next year naman, si President Fidel B. Ramos sa 1993, nag-launch din siya ng Ecological Revolution sa paggamit ng Executive Order No. 99. Na ni-issue nito na lahat ng governing agencies mag-adopt ng isang street or park sa lahat ng urban centers nila at sila ang responsable na mag-maintain nito. Same year din naman, ang DepEd, hindi DepEd, Department of Education, Culture and Sports, launch sila ng nationwide tree planting drive na na-mobilize ng millions of grade and high school students from more than 33,000 and public and private schools throughout the country. Tapos, ang 1988, bumalik tayo, si Secretary Antonio H. Serrares, nag-launch ng Let's Go Green Program na nagko-components with the component projects such as Oplang sa Gitpuno and the Green Scout Movement. Related to sa environmental protection, PD 953, na-require planting of trees and other certain places and penalizing unauthorized cutting, destruction, damaging and injuring trees, plants, and vegetation. Ayun lang po nare-remember ko sa historya ng urban forestry sa Pilipinas. Sana helpful naman po to.
Earth to the knees.
Uy, thanks, Bes.
Teka, bakit? Ayaw mo ba?
Uy, hindi naman. Yun ko lang kasi parang medyo cotton ako sa tamis for today. Pero thank you, Bes, Hi. Beso, sana ako din. Alam mo ba, kahapon nga may pang-marching band na proposal na ganap eh. Ang sweet, no?
Sus, kung Spotify na lang nila yung libre pa.
Hay naku, Julia, napaka-hater mo talaga. Wala nagkakagusto sa'yo eh. Alam mo, Bes, it's our senior year. So dapat all or nothing na. Kaya if I were you then, I would ask out na this Mr. Dream Girl of your life na 4 years mo na hinihintay, 4 long years, Bes. Hanggang saan ka pa ba maghihintay? Mamaya taken na yun.
Di pa siya taken.
Oy, ano?
Perfect pa din.
Aww! Ang cute-cute talaga ng best friend ko. Super sweet! Kaya alam mo, Bes, you have to promise me na this year, hindi next year, hindi next year, this year, this Valentine's Day, you would ask her out, okay? Pinky promise! Pinky promise na!
Oo, ito. Pinky promise. I
Promise
will.
na yan, ha?
Oo, I will promise. Buti na nga lang din nandito siya eh.
Oh, hindi talaga? Nasaan? Yun! Siya ba yun? Siya yun
Hindi
doon.
kasi ano ka ba? Hindi.
Uy, sino? Sino ba?
Hello! Do you want to help and save nature? Join us as we promote the benefits of urban forestry. Urban forestry makes the city environment a better place to live in. Benefits include modification of temperature, protection from wind, erosion control, watershed protection, abates noise, protection from gas and particulate pollutants, control glares and reflection of solar radiation, screens objectionable views from the landscape like junkyards and slums, and privacy control, which secludes a particular area from its surrounding. With all these benefits, urban forest needs to be established to improve physiological, sociological, and economic well-being of urban society. The various benefits derived from urban forestry may be grouped under the following categories: climatic amelioration, architectural uses, aesthetic uses, and engineering uses. When we say climatic amelioration, the trees, shrubs, and grass ameliorate air temperature by controlling solar radiation. The trees serve as nature's air conditioner kasi hindi nyo ba napapansin na kapag nasa mapupuno tayong mga lugar ay lumalamig ang atmosfera? Ang init at ang maalab na pinaparamdam sa atin ay unti-unting nagiging malamig at preskong pakiramdam. In fact, a single isolated tree may transpire approximately 400 liters of water per day, comparable to 5 air conditioners, each with a capacity of 2,500 kilowatts per hour, running 20 hours a day. Secondly, architectural uses. Trees and shrubs can be used for space articulation, screening, privacy control, and anticipation enhancement. Next, aesthetic uses. Trees and shrubs in frame views soften architectural lines, enhance and complement architectural elements, unify divergent elements, and introduce a naturalness to otherwise stark settings. And lastly, engineering uses. Trees and plants are also used in solving environmental engineering problems involving landscaping and soil erosion, air pollution, noise abatement, traffic control, and glare and reflection reduction. Now, let's dig deeper on those categories, which will talk about how trees affect pollution, noise, traffic, reflection, and to the environment. First, how trees abate pollution. Particulate air pollutants are reduced by the presence of trees and other plants in several ways. They aid in the removal of urban particulates such as sand, gas fly ash, pollen, and smoke. Trees also help in the removal of urban particulate matter by air washing. Second, how trees abate noise. Excessive or unwanted noise or pollutant, often referred to as invisible pollution. Noise involves both physical and physiological effects. That's why the leaves, branches, and twigs of trees absorb sound waves. Next, how trees help in traffic control. Trees and plants can be used in an area in a definite pattern to direct or channel vehicular, pedestrian, and animal traffic. Next, how trees abate glare or control reflection. At night, we experience the same discomfort with glare from automobile headlights, streetlights, buildings, and advertising signs. That's why plants can be used to soften and screen glares by proper placement of trees and shrubs on center islands and side streets around terraces, fascias, and windows to protect the vision of the driver. And lastly, what forestry does to the environment. Trees contribute positively to the urban environment by providing green space screening and habitat for urban wildlife. Trees may contribute up to 25% of the value of unimproved land suitable for housing development and up to 12% of the value of half-acre properties with houses. Trees can also modify the urban microclimate by their shading effect, increasing long-wave radiation, reducing wind speed, intercepting rain, cooling the air by evapotranspiration, and possibly raising the humidity of the air. Vegetation can also help conserve energy. Strategically placed shade trees around small homes can significantly decrease energy required for space cooling up to 80%. In hot climate areas, reduction in wind velocity and air infiltration rates may produce additional energy savings. Windbreaks also lessen heating energy needs by lowering air infiltration rates. Properly located windbreak planting may reduce energy requirement for heating houses by 10 to 25% annually and by over 50% for cooling where houses are shaded. Narrow dense belt of trees are also practical barriers to noise. The principal loss in vegetative barriers is acoustic scattering by the host and large branches and acoustic absorption by the porous ground. Planting for noise abatement requires more land that is not available in many urban locations, although trees are efficacious screens against noise if sufficient space is available. Trees and other vegetation in combination with constructed noise barriers may offer noise relief. In addition, the primary way that vegetation removes gases from the atmosphere is the uptake through stomates. Uptake by plant surface and bark pores and absorption of gases to the surface of plant parts also contribute. Additionally, small branches were found to be more efficient particle collectors than large branches. Pollutants are absorbed more efficiently by plant foliage near the canopy surface where light-mediated metabolic and pollutant diffusivity rates are greatest. Aside from that, aesthetically, trees and shrubs provide their own inherent beauty in all settings. They enframe views, soften architectural lines, enhance and complement architectural elements, unify divergent elements, and introduce naturalness to otherwise stark settings. In addition, plants augment our aesthetic enjoyment by enhancing the environment in which our urban wildlife live. In addition, trees and shrubs are also important in the hydrologic cycle. They intercept precipitation and slow its descent to soil surface. Interception of rainfall by conifers, which is 40% that is greater than the hardwoods that is 20%. It is because the leaf structure of conifers enables better entrapment of water droplets. These can increase in infiltration and decrease runoff and soil erosion. It can also reduce soil moisture and evaporation. And lastly, economic benefits, both direct and indirect, can be realized from urban forests. The direct benefits include increased property values, while the indirect benefits involve increased income when such amenity resources help attract new industry. Now that I've said all the benefits of urban forestry, I hope you will join us soon and do more greening movement with us. Bye!
Laganap na nga ang mga balita tungkol sa iba't ibang advokasya ng mga funds ng mga grupo ng mga kabataan at isa daw sa mga pinakabagong plano nila ay ang urban forest development.
Ang una po naming target ng lugar ay parks dahil makikita nga po natin na ang park po ay isang public place at napakaganda po tignan kung ito ay puno ng puno at saka po napakaaliwalas po dahil ang mga puno po ay nagko-contribute sa pagpapa-fresh ng hangin at nakakapagdagdag po sila ng lamig sa mga parks. The arrangement of trees and shrubs has to follow the rules of modern landscaping as an expressive, harmonious, and refined imitation of nature. Emphasis is on group planting with irregular spacing. The relative position of the individual trees and shrubs has to be varied as much as possible. They may be single trees, neighboring small groups with the same species. Meanwhile naman po, meron naman pong magkakaiba at limited lang po namin yung space na gagamitin. Next naman po ay street right of way. These are strips adjacent to the street between divided boulevards and kadalasan po tinatawag na T-lawns, pathways, or parking strips. They vary in width and often provide space for sidewalks. There are usually space for a single row of trees, shrubs, and other landscape design features. Ibig sabihin po, sobrang limited lang po yung maiilagay na namin dito. Kaya naman po, ang gagawin na lang po namin ay isang straight na line na lang po ng mga puno. Next naman po is public buildings and grounds. Grounds adjacent to public buildings such as schools, colleges, hospital, auditoriums, museum, penal institution, and courthouse are important parts of the urban forest. Ito po yung mga kadalasang pinupuntahan ng mga tao, kaya nararapat lang po na medyo maraming puno din po tayo dito. It also includes military installations, cemeteries, airports, golf courses, and nurseries which are managed by the government. The development of these public grounds is similar of what the parks and street right of way. Next naman po ay the extraterritorial lands. The urban forest often goes beyond the populated limits of the city. Shelter belts, groves, forests, reserve, and even vegetated landfills are part of the urban forest. This forest provides watershed protection, recreation, scenic place for the disposal of waste product, and source of raw materials for community use. Dahil nga po ito po ay napakamahalagang part ng ating community, mahalaga din po na may mga puno po tayo dito para sa protection at para po mag-provide ng mga materials na kailangan natin para sa ating community. In the protection and improvement of watershed areas, board, leaves, and deciduous tree species are most preferable. Ang balak din namin puntayuan yung mga riparian areas. These are areas refer to riverfronts, canals, channel diversion, lake shores, and even the seashores, which are also part of the urban forest. These are often developed as areas for recreation, green belts, and open spaces within cities. The development of these areas usually is similar with the parks and the recreational areas. And lastly, meron din po tayong tinatawag na private lands. Private lands refer to the all kinds of residential, commercial, and industrial lands which are also target for urban forest development. Contribution of private land area to urban forest depends upon the size and available space and the extent of the tree planting conducted by the owner. The development of private land is mainly dependent on the purpose of the owner towards the land.
Maski ikaw daw ay matatakot kung habang naglalakad ka sa gubat ay makikita mo ang imaheng ito. Isang gubat sa Mabini, Batangas ang sinasabing kakikitaan daw ng katakot-takot na nilalang sa gabi. Kaya naman lumipad ang aming team para imbestigahan ang tungkol sa istoryang ito.
Para po siyang puno na anyong tao.
Pumunta kami doon at nag-imbestiga. At napag-alaman namin na ang nakita nila ay isang puno lamang.
Ang gubat sa Mabini, Batangas ay isa sa pinakamayaman sa species na gubat. Ang mga puno dito ay mainam para sa urban forest development. The type of tree always matters. The essential requirement of selecting the appropriate tree for the appropriate location should not conflict with the desired increase diversity or the selection of native trees in the city. The creation and enhancement of habitat will increase as a result of this. It suggests that tree is perfectly suited to the current climate. It is essential to take into consideration the advantages of successful, low-maintenance trees that contribute to the tree's overall composition when considering the urban forest. That's why it's important to know the characteristic of tree species first before developing urban forest. Collins, last 1978, suggested that the target species for urban planting should possess the following qualities. First is the capacity to grow and develop within the assigned space limitation. This is where preservation of trees will take action. If you know how trees work and what they need to grow, conserving them won't be too hard. Trees are the ones that respond to their surroundings and what is done to them. Trees require air, water, nutrients from the soil to remain healthy and vigorous. They require soil that is free of pollution and compaction that permits air and water flow freely. Additionally, trees require protection from disease, insects, and physical harm. Trees have roots, bark, a trunk, branches, and foliage. Only if these organs are healthy and unharmed can they thrive. Next one is the resistance to pests and diseases. Pathogens can found in three species. Major pathogens include several fungi. A number of them have a significant impact on the landscape and environment and cause significant damage to natural and recreational woodlands. Next is adaptable to the existing and expected environment stresses of the site. There are a variety of ways in which trees can respond to their surrounding, the most common of which are morphological and physiological responses, as well as the reallocation of available nutrients and water to the tree that require it the most. It is also a culturally low-maintenance species. It has satisfactory growth rate. Rate is influenced by a wide range of factors, including soil, drainage, water, fertility, light, and exposure. The term slow refers to a tree that grows no more than 12 inches per year. Medium refers to annual growth of 13 to 24 inches and quick to 25 or larger. Next is the ability to fill the functional use in the urban areas as buffer, shade, shelter, and aesthetics. One example is when people visit a specific tree in an urban area and are caught in a rainstorm. The tree must be used as a shade or shelter because it is big enough to cover them. Next, it also has reasonably effective lifespan. The average lifespan of the tree is influenced by its species. The availability of sunlight and water are two of the many things that impact on tree life. Temperature and wind also have an effect. Additionally, fires, insects, and diseases have the potential to shorten the lifespan of some trees. It also has acceptable percentage survival that normally occur after transplanting or planting. So the survival rate is expressed as a percentage of survival by counting the number of plants from each species that have survived, dividing the number by the number of plants from that species that were originally planted, and multiplying by 100. There are also some species suitable for urban planting. The species used in urban plantings ought to be appropriate for the location of the planting, while also having the potential to benefit urban areas from a social and ecological perspective. The following are some common trees, shrubs, and palms that can survive in urban areas in a variety of climates and soils. Number 1 is trees with bright colors. This pigment is necessary for the process of photosynthesis, in which carbon dioxide and water are transformed into the nutrients needed for tree growth. Also, trees with bright colors also lighten up the day with its exquisite look. Some of these trees are bottle brush, banaba, dap-dap, fire tree, African tulip, golden shower, Ancoan dilaw, and Thailand shower. The trees with a beautiful foliage or needles. Particulate pollutants like dust, ash, pollen, and smoke which can harm the lungs of humans are able to settle out, be caught, and retained by foliage. Additionally, because they do not shed in the fall, needles are able to absorb sunlight for almost the entire year. As their wind resistance is lower than large flat leaves, needles are less likely to cause the tree to topple over a severe storm, and insects also have a hard time digesting needles. Some of these trees are Norfolk pine, Japanese cypress, agoho, silky oak, burri palm, bunga or betel nut palm, pugamas, and royal palm. Number 3 is shrubs with bright colors or colorful foliage. So a shrub is any woody plant with multiple stems, none of which are dominant, and a typical height of less than 3 meters. It can be called a bush when it has many branches and is dense. Arborescens, also known as tree-like shrubs that range in height from 3 to 6 meters, are in between shrubs and trees. Some examples are poinsettia, gumamela, and yellow bell. There are also some species that have been observed to do well in urban environments, including cane tree, mahogany, Manila palm, nara, rubber tree, star apple, talisay, Japanese acacia, ipil-ipil, yamanet, adelpha, nangka, neem, mango, duhat, makopa, kamachile, datiles, tambis, and Indian tree.
At bilang panghuling bahagi ng ating tampok na storya ngayong gabi, pakinggan natin ang ating case study ng mga piling mag-aaral.
Trees in urban areas like Metro Manila are subjected to all kinds of environmental hazards. Trees, if not cut, suffers from natural and man-made destruction, which cause the reduction in their natural lifespan. A tree would live 80 years in the forest and is expected to live less in an urban area.
The Upland sa Gipuno was launched on June 5, 2000. It was designed as part of Antonio Sarile's Let's Go Green program, which was the DENR's previous secretary. There is the use of appropriate silvicultural treatments such as getting rid of nails, wires and cables, and water sprouts, surgical treatments of an injured stem or root, to improve the health and vigor of trees planted in parks, along streets, and along thoroughfares in Metro Manila, and agencies such as subdivision, homeowners association, city, municipal government, NGOs, and etc. The ENR signed a memorandum agreement. Additionally, the ENR conducted an inventory and evaluation of injured or damaged trees, carry out appropriate treatments for the forest, provide planting materials and technical assistance to sustain the project, while the LGU provided crews for the tree care and maintenance, aid the ENR in the dissemination of information regarding tree care and protection.
So, what are the common identified defects and abnormalities in trees in Metro Manila? Well, the 6 examples, the 6 abnormalities are injury by root curling, gas poisoning, cat face or scars, abnormality due to nails, injuries and defects inflicted by man, injuries caused by bumps of reckless drivers.
Objectives of the Upland sa Gipuno program. First is undertake measures to save trees instead of cutting, burning them. Undertake inventory assessments of all living trees in Metro Manila, particularly those injured and diseased trees in major parks and sidewalks that need to be treated and saved. Encourage the participation of all stakeholders like LGUs, NGOs, civic clubs, religious groups, and POs in technical training seminars of saving trees to serve as counterparts in their respected areas. Provide inputs of a master plan for urban greening to identify appropriate planning sites.
Benefits and the socioeconomic impact of the Upland sa Gipuno. This program will sustain the existence and improve the lifespan of trees so that the residents and the general public will continue to enjoy fresh, clean air, shade, and recreational value of trees. Saving and protecting the trees will lessen the burden of spending more for replanting and in the maintenance of existing growing trees.
Iyan nga ang lahat ng inihanda namin para sa inyo. Samahan niyo muli kami sa susunod na linggo.